today I thought I was going to try something different because I accumulate a lot of cymbals over time, but very rarely get to upload them anymore. And sometimes I get messages from the cymbalholics people or the old school people asking about certain cymbals and if they could buy them, or if they're for sale and stuff like that. I don't really sell anything because there's no point. But what I think is interesting is the history behind some of the cymbals, and not in terms of history as in the history of like where they came from, so to speak, and like factories and so forth, but more about like just the purchasing and stuff like that, because living in New Zealand, it's very, very hard to come across like rare cymbals unless you go on like Reverb or eBay. You really don't see them, and the prices can be pretty extreme as well. So we have this site called Trade Me, and for me that is the gold mine, because usually you'll see cymbals that pop up on there that you would find on Reverb for probably a third of the price, if not less. And I have some in there that I'll talk about and go and do a bit of detail about how much money you save by doing these sort of things. But anyway, I'm rambling. So the whole reason why I was going to make this video was just more to do something different. Instead of like talking to people online and saying, oh, I got this real sweet deal and da-da-da-da this. It's just like, hey, I'll just talk about, I got a bunch of cymbals from my vault that I'll talk about and where they came from. It's going to be a fucking boring video. Anyway, so the first one that I really like is my Istanbul Mehmet Mel Lewis Ride. I actually got this very recently from Drum Center Portsmouth in the US. And the reason I bought this was because I think it was like 2 years ago, I ended up getting a Mel Lewis Mehmet Crash Ride, which I think is also in that stack over there. I've got like a stack of cymbals from my vault I bought over before I had my drum set set up because I'm doing some house sitting, and I was like, fuck it, why not? We'll set up the drum set, because I haven't had it set up in months and months and years. Anyway, I digress. So I bought a Istanbul Mehmet Mel Lewis 19-inch Crash Ride about 2 or 3 years ago. And I already got it. I don't even know why. I think the only reason I got it was because I never see Istanbul Mehmet Mel Lewis's now. I think they're called the Nostalgic series or the Mehmet Legend series. I'm pretty sure Mehmet Legend is what they've become. So for me as like a collector, you just don't see them. So I thought, hey, that would be quite cool to add to the collection. So I got that, and then this popped up a few years later. I originally saw it on Reverb, and I was like, shucks, I really, really want that. But this is really, really poor timing for me to want it, because I had just splashed out cash for both the 400th anniversary Zildjian cymbal. So I bought a ride cymbal, a 20-inch ride cymbal, and a 15-inch crash cymbal. So that depleted my bank account significantly by a couple of $1,000s. I think it was about $6,000 New Zealand to buy those two cymbals together. On top of that, I also had decided to buy a Paul Francis cymbal craftsman cymbal, so I bought that as well, forgetting that these 400th anniversary cymbals would come out. So I bought that Paul Francis cymbal because I was like, well, they sound really, really nice, and I really feel like they'll have some collector's value later on in life, so I decided to buy one of those. And then this piece of shit popped up, and I was like, well, I really, really, really like my 19-inch Crash Ride Mel Lewis Istanbul Mehmet, so this should be something that I'll get. And I made a video of it. The rooms where I record my drums, I don't play that often anymore, so I don't really care about acoustics, so a lot of my cymbals sound like shit when I record them. My playing techniques is just not there anymore because I just never ever play. It's all payback for me now. But I have my Travis Barker stick. Yeah, really nice. I like this cymbal a lot. I'm pretty happy I bought it. I think it only cost me 700 New Zealand dollars. Yeah, great. US dollars, $329. So yeah, I bought it from this website because it was a lot cheaper than buying it on Reverb, by about $50 or whatever. So that's that one. What do we got next? Wouldn't it be funny if we had the other Mel Lewis? No. So this is the cymbal craftsman cymbal that I was talking about. So everyone knows that Paul Francis left Zildjian some time ago and started his own company, which is Cymbal Craftsman, and then did a collaboration, I think, called Royal Cymbals. And I remember being a young student drummer years and years ago, and I remember when Mike Skibber died and then Roberto Spizzacino died, if that's how you pronounce his last name, and just the value of their cymbals that shot up overnight. I remember like a Spizzacino was like the same price as, or roughly slightly cheaper than an old K. And when he died, I think I was still at university at the time, so this would be like 2005 to 2009, somewhere around then. Yeah, they went up, they shot up, and I remember really, really wanting a Spizzacino, but I never really had the money or the resources to buy one. I didn't really know how purchasing cymbals with the internet worked back then. I really only used cymbals only. Correction, I did use cymbals only. Why did I do that? It was a terrible fucking site. Cymbalholic was where I bought most of my cymbals, and God, the guy's name escapes me. He became a cymbal maker as well, and he had a website called Rare Vintage Cymbals. Mac Bettis. He also had a lot of those cymbals on there, but he would never reply to my emails, and that used to irritate me a lot. Because I, at the time, really, really, really wanted old Canadian Ks. And what did he have an abundance of on his website? Old Canadian Ks. So I was like, shucks. And when I say old Canadian Ks, I just mean Canadian Ks. I just say old because they're 70s or something. Hey man, how you doing? Jump up. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you. This is my assistant. So anyway, I had the money, and I was like, had that same kind of mentality of like, well, Paul Francis probably makes really, really nice cymbals. Like, I only really know about them from listening to them on the internet. So I might as well just splash out and get one. And boy, I'm glad I did. This is a really nice cymbal. This is a 20-inch crash ride at 2,238 grams. And like I said, I just set my drum kit up while I'm house sitting. And I've been playing along to all bunch of different genres of music, a lot of Ornette Coleman, Led Zeppelin, a bit of Tower Power, and this, I can use this for everything. Like, this is crazy. And I usually don't like crash rides. I know I talked about my Mel Lewis crash ride, but this cymbal is a really, really controllable ride, and it's got a really nice crash, and it's really, really made me think about cymbals in general, and just like, you know, not being so prejudiced against the name of crash ride, like more going back to that a young idealistic version of me that's more concerned about the sound. Do you want to smell it? Thank you. Yeah, Paul Francis. So yeah, bought this recently in July, around the same time as I got the cymbal member at Mel Lewis, and I've just had this on the kit non-stop. So good, so good. I think I got this one from the same place as I got that one, Drum Centre Portsmouth. So these both came from them. So they owe me a discount because it's a lot of money to spend on cymbals. But yeah, I'll get the next one. You can get the one after that. How about that? Oops. Do you know what this is? No. This, I freaked out when this came online. Take a second to look at it. You probably know it if you see my videos or you talk to me quite a bit. I freaked out because I'm a big Philly Joe Jones fan. I love Philly Joe Jones to death. He was probably the last jazz drummer that I really, really got into after not playing jazz for so long. And this came out on, I think I saw a video on YouTube with John Riley and Paul Francis where they discussed, they had a Philly Joe Jones cymbal from like however long, the 1950s or 60s, where he'd done stuff with Miles Davis, and they had that cymbal on and they were playing it, and then they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we're like remaking these cymbals, and I went, oh shit, I gotta get one. So I got this one from mycymbal.com. If you know mycymbal.com, they have the most annoying cymbal videos of all time, because they will talk about a cymbal for 4 years and then they'll play it for about 10 seconds. So go them. But yeah, great cymbal. Do you mind if I hit it? This cymbal has aged so well. I got this in 2021, 22. When they, like literally when they came out, I put an order in for it, got it, and was like, holy shucks, such a good cymbal. It's like I said, I don't really play that often, but gets bashed around every so often. It gets a lot of sunlight. It's aged very, very well. I know the cameras don't do it justice when I record them, and my technique is shit. But this cymbal has aged so well, it's crazy. And I'm looking forward to however many more years we have together. I would never sell any of these cymbals, definitely not this one. The other thing as well is it came with a cool certificate, which I have yet to frame. And I think at the same time I bought the Philly Joe Jones solo book, which was a really, really good purchase, albeit expensive one. So I've learned like 10.3% of each solo going through it, because I don't have a drum kit to play that often. And I'll show you my drum kit in a second. I just don't get to flesh through them, but one day I'll sort it out. Yep. Next we have, what have we got? Oh yeah, okay. Same but different. This is you can probably guess what it is. This is the Joe Morello Take 5 cymbal. And I was never like a massive Joe Morello fan. I think he's a sweet drummer. But I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to him like I would with like Philly Joe or Alvin or Tony or Max or in that regard. It's just, I don't know. I thought he was just such a good soloist and all that stuff, but I just never really went out and sought out his music. But as a cymbal collector, this one came out. I think it came out after the Philly Joe Jones one, and I was like, shucks, like as a collector I need to own this. Again, I liked it straight away. This one's aged really, really well as well. It doesn't really get played that often, but why not? Again, it was another my cymbal purchase, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I also found this one was pretty eclectic, so I could play it pretty much for anything. When I was playing around with it, like I would chuck it on the kit and chuck on my headphones, because all my playing is done along to records these days, or just out of books, or just fucking around. And I could use this for like playing with the Beatles, and then playing along to jazz, and then playing along to like Faith No More. So that was pretty cool. It works really, really well as a crash. So maybe it's more of a crash ride. Because I think when he actually did the actual recording itself, he only had one cymbal. Was that right? Yeah, I think so. Again, probably very expensive. I bought it roughly the same time as I bought this one here. So yeah, it was just money drained. I think maybe altogether $1,500 New Zealand, maybe $2,000 New Zealand. Who knows? Came with a certificate as well. Pretty happy with that. Don't know where it is, but you know, that's the life. Oh yeah. Okay. So I was talking before about the cycled trade me we have in New Zealand, right? Yep. And the cool thing about trade me is there's maybe like 5 of us in the country that we all see each other on the site from time to time. And really what will happen is you'll get like an old K or like a 602, like a real good nice 602, or something will come up on the website that's there for like peanuts. Like I have seen old Ks go on Trade Me listed for like 100 New Zealand dollars, no reserve. So it's like you'll see it and you're like, shit, I wonder if everyone else knows about it, because we don't really talk that much anymore. Like we have our kind of like old school cymbalholics community from years and years, like 10, 20 years ago, before it shut down. But you have in the back of your mind, whenever these things come up, shucks, who else knows about it? And I always think like, I've seen it first, no one else has seen it, so hopefully no one will do anything about it. But come game day, the auctions usually run about 7 days, depending on who lists them and what they list them for. Everyone will start bidding. So you go on with that mindset of like, cool, I'm gonna get an old K for $100, and you'll end up paying a bit more for it, but I'll talk about that when I get to my old K. But this was listed very, very recently. Again, like I spent a lot of money on cymbals recently because I got my Paul Francis cymbal craftsman cymbal. I got my Istanbul Mehmet 21-inch Mellows ride. I bought the 400th anniversary crash and a 400th anniversary ride, and then these cymbals came out. So I had 2 Blue Label 602s that came out. So this is the 20-inch one, and I own a full set of 602s, like pre-serials and like black stamps. So I got a set of hi-hats I bought from the UK. The majority of them I bought from New Zealand. Again, just harping on to what I was talking about, I remember one came on like a 22 inch crash, which is very, very hard to find. I don't know what it's like overseas, but here it's, you very rarely see them, and I needed that to round out my collection. And the dude listed it for, I think, it was under $100, but he had no close-up shots of it. And I instantly knew what it was, and I was like, cool. So I put a bid on it, no one else bid on it, and I ended up getting it for like $80. It was something ridiculous. And I was just like, whoa, that's so cool. So that's the kind of thing that you can get on Trade Me. But back to this. Yeah, I own a whole bunch of 602s. I've got hi-hats, I think two 16 crash, 18 crash, 17 crash, 18 medium, 22-inch ride, 22-inch crash, 20-inch ride, two 20-inch rides, mostly with all the logos on them and stuff like that, unless they came with no logos. But I'd never ever owned a blue label 602 before. The only time I'd ever really used blue labels was back when I was in university, and we used to have an 18-inch blue label flat ride. And I thought that was like the nicest ride. Correction, I also have a 18-inch flat ride, 602 flat ride that I forgotten to mention. And that was back when I was very, very poor student, and owning a very nice cymbal was very prestigious. Like if you wanted to be taken seriously, you had to have had like a nice set of cymbals or a nice drum set. Most of us were rocking around with, I don't know, I'll get back to that, I can't remember. But I was like flipping through cymbals like crazy, and that was when I first became a member of Cymbalholics, started buying cymbals online and so forth. And so I really, really liked that blue label, but I was too afraid to ask if I could buy it. And I wish I had, because I'm pretty sure if I had asked nicely enough, they would have sold it to me, or the drum tutor there would have sold it to me. And I went through a lot of flat rides, not that I owned many of them myself, but playing them and borrowing them and stuff like that. And I was a really, really big fan of mini cups back then, like the old Zildjian mini cup cymbals. So like I had a 20-inch ride that I regrettably sold, many regrets of mine to this day, and like an 18-inch ride. I think it was like a mini cup ride that I also sold, because I really felt like, well, I want to have the option of a bell. And anyway, I'm digressing again. So this popped up, $500 New Zealand I got it for. The guy listed it. There was a lot of interest on it, and I was like, shucks, all right, statistically, from what happens usually, I'm going to probably end up spending about $700 on this New Zealand. But I was the only bidder on this one, and got it. So I was very, very happy. Logos, everything's intact. Great cymbal. I don't think I've actually ever had played a blue label 602 medium ride before this. Like I said, the only blue labels I've played were flat rides. So sucks to be me. Money gone. Okay. This old K is another one that I got off Trade Me. You can probably just make out this. If I can get it on there. Yeah, sweet. I don't know. I haven't bothered looking in to see what it is yet. This one is another one of those ones that came on Trade Me, and I thought, gee whiz, my whole thought process is if I can get an old K for under $1,000, I've done myself well, and I'm definitely gonna do that. But I do go in with the mindset of paying. I'm not going to say how much I go in with the mindset of paying, but it's much more than $1,000. So if anyone is listening and saying, shucks, I will outbid you, like, good luck, mate. But this one came on, and I'd actually bought cymbals from this guy before. He has a lot of old Ks who put them on Trade Me every now and again. Sometimes they're not in the best condition, so I'm like, ugh, nah. And then like they'll have cracks or something on the bell, and I don't have time to deal with it. I don't want to go out and drill out the cracks and go do all the admin stuff. I just want the cymbals, man. So this guy, I had bought an old K off him, probably earlier in the year, I think kind of like February, I think it was around Valentine's Day, and the girl I was dating at the time, we were kind of like, well, we're probably not going to have a great Valentine's Day because I just dropped some money on a cymbal, but that's cool. But yeah, he had listed a cymbal prior to that, which I bought and I was like, okay, the cymbal was in really good condition. It's actually the nicest old K that I've ever played or owned, 20-inch ride, which is currently in my vault, and I wish I had it here to record it, because I never got around to recording it when I bought it last February, or in February just been. So I decided I got this one sent to me, and I was like, cool, I'll definitely keep this one around and have a tutu with it. Hey, it's all right. It's got a lot of lathe chatter, as you can see, and it's very a bit rustic, but it plays all right. Very, very dead, nice crash sound. I've actually been thinking about cleaning the top of this one and just seeing how it goes, because it's got a lot of paint. Oh, I don't know if it's paint or bird shit or what. I think it's like it was a student's set. Like it was used on a student's drum set because it's got Peter's drum city. I don't know who Peter is. Peter, if you're out there, feel free to contact me. You won't get your cymbal back. But yeah, this one popped up. The price he listed it for was like $200, and I was like, cool, I'll get this for less than $1,000. And I think I got it for $900. So I was pretty happy with that. A lot of attention on it. Like people, the way Trade Me works is in the last minute. If someone bids, the auction will reset to 2 minutes left to go. So there's that period of like anxiety of you've got 30 seconds left in the auction and you've got it up to $600, and you're like, great, I'm going to get a 20-inch old K for $600. And then in the last 30 seconds, someone will bid $5, and it automatically resets to 2 minutes. The auction will reset to 2 minutes left to go. So yeah, $900, great, nice. Nice cymbal, very. It looks like it would. It probably sounds like it's quite dead, but it's quite open. I like it. But that's not about that. I'm using the Travis Barker sticks today because my drumsticks are all the way over there, and I really got these because I was a massive fan of Steve Gadd up close, the VHS. One of my happiest memories of all time growing up was my mother came home one day. I think I was like 14, 15 years old, and she's like, I found this VHS, do you want it? And I was like, cool. Or maybe it was my dad, and it was Steve Gadd, and I was like, man, this dude looks like a bit of a reptile. And I ended up watching that video just daily, hourly, minutely. And I really liked the fact that he played these cool black drumsticks. So that was my like attempt to kind of emulate him. I saw these in the drum shop one day, and I was going through a Steve Gadd phase. So I was like, cool, I'm up close. Cool. This is the 19 crash ride that I bought some years ago. The 2022, I want to say it was the last year I got it. Again, I think I got this after a night of drinking. On Reverb, I saw it and I was like, shucks, I've never seen a Mel Lewis Mimic before. And like I said, I think they became this Mimic legends. So I decided to buy it. I never really even played it until recently because I didn't have a drum set to play it on really. So it's a nice cymbal. It's I was really gutted because it had a sticker on it, as you can see around there on the bell. That peeled off somehow in the heat, but that was like the Mehmet thing where it has, this has been tested by so forth and so on, and yeah, great cymbal. I will like to do a cymbal today, not today, sorry, at some point, pairing it up with the 21-inch, just to show the comparison. The only thing that irks me, really gets fricks with my OCD is the Mehmet logo on this one is like the newer kind of Mehmet logo, whereas on the other one, it's the older Mehmet logo. Yep, I understand. So that has the older Mehmet logo there. And I'm a big fan of the pre-split Istanbuls as well. So that's kind of why I like the older school Mehmet ones. They kind of remind me of that preschool Istanbul. You can come up if you want. You coming? Staying? Yeah, you can just come sit. Yeah, I like the story behind this cymbal a lot. This is I don't like the name of it, my Metal Byzance 20-inch Big Apple ride. Probably one of the nicest jazz rides on the planet. Or nicest cymbals. The thing I like about this cymbal is it sounds like it's got, I don't want to play because the cat's literally right under me. Do you want to jump up here, please? Yep, come on. This sounds like it's got, when I first played it in the drum store in K Road, Auckland Drum Shop, Rock Shop, I was like, man, this cymbal, cymbal sounds like it's got rivets built into it, so it's pretty cool. And that's what I really liked about it. It's had that kind of sustain. And again, I don't play with people anymore, so it doesn't really matter. It's just more of a collector's thing. But I went in that day because I hadn't bought cymbals for a long time. I hadn't actually bought any brand new cymbals for a long time. I don't remember the time frame for it. I was going through a bit of a brand new cymbal drought. I was always buying secondhand cymbals or rare vintage cymbals. So I was like, man, I want to just go in one day because I had the money, go into the drum shop, which is quite big, the Auckland Drum Shop, Rock Shop and K Road. At the time, they had a lot of cymbals. I think this was pre-COVID or just, excuse me, around one of the COVIDs. I'm going to say like 2020, 2021. And I went in and I was like, cool. With the mindset of, I'm just going to play every cymbal in here, and then the one I like the most, I'm going to buy it because why not? And I went in with the mindset of wanting to buy the David Garibaldi Soulsider Ride, the limited edition one he released. And that was kind of because I was going through a phase of purchasing these limited edition Sabian cymbals that just keep coming out, and I've got one here. I think I've got a few of them. One of them that I got was the Chick Corea one, the Dave Weckl one. I really wanted the Jake DeJohnette one, and the David Garibaldi one, and also the Stadium one that Todd Schuckerman bought out. But anyway, so I went in there with the mindset of buying the David Garibaldi one because I was a huge Tower Power fan when I was at university back in the early noughts. 2005-ish. But I played it and I was like, man, I don't really like this. I don't really like this cymbal. But I had the mindset of I really wanted to buy it. I went in, I drove in because it was like a half hour, 45-minute drive to this drum shop. And I was like, cool, when I leave this drum store, I'm going to have a David Garibaldi ride cymbal. And I went in there and I was like, attendant, please hand me the David Garibaldi ride cymbal for my pleasure. And he's like, of course, sir. And he laid it on the cymbal stand and I hit it and I was like, ooh, is that what it sounds like? But then I was like, man, maybe it sounds better in the context of music. But then I don't really play with people. So I was like, well, it's just going to be me playing it. So I was like, great, put that one to the side and let's have a look around. And so I went through all the ride cymbals. They had a lot there that day. I remember that I was there for a long time, and much to the annoyance of the staff there, just playing cymbals and playing them against each other and testing them out and seeing what they all sounded like against each other and so forth. And then I came across this baby and I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I read the name. I was like, I don't like fruit very much. But yeah. Played it and I was like, shucks, this is the cymbal that I hear in my head. Honestly, at that time, this was the cymbal that I had been searching for my whole life. And I was just like, I've got to buy the cymbal. And then, like I said, I had a bit of money then, so I was like, I really went in there with the intent of purchasing that David Garibaldi ride, so I guess I have to kind of buy that too, which I didn't really want it, and I was trying to make myself play it, and it's not a bad cymbal, it just wasn't what I would usually purchase or buy and so forth. So, it's diversity. I think that's the way to describe it. It's just diversity. That's in my vault. Well, actually, not my vault. It's actually my locker where the majority of my cymbals are stored. I think I've got over 100 and something cymbals. These ones purely are here because I didn't really get to play them that often, or they're new. I just wanted to fuck around with them, excuse my French, because I had the drum kit set up. So that was that. Bought that one. The David Garibaldi one. And that's history. That's sitting somewhere in a vault / thingamajig. Oh yeah. Second one of these that I've owned. This is the K Custom Dry Complex Ride 2, which is the Bill Stewart signature Zildjian ride that everyone either loves to hate, hates to love, loves or hates. I bought one of these originally. This might actually be the same one that I bought. I can actually probably find out because I think I have a picture of the serial number, so maybe I'll figure that out and you'll get another video about it. The Long Lost Loves Reunited. I owned one of these, like I said, when I was at Canterbury Uni between 2005 and 2009. and I was going, like, I was very poor student. I had no money, but somehow I was managing to flip cymbals, to buy new cymbals, to fund purchasing new cymbals, and I was like buying everything. And a lot of cymbals, like I said, like I had bought and I sold, and to this day I regret. However, this was one that I bought because at that time Bill Stewart was real hot and everyone was into Bill Stewart. This is around, I don't know if the album, shucks, ugh, God, I hate myself. The album, there was an live album that he did with Steve Swallow and John Schofield, and the cover of the album was him sitting on a plane wing. I can't remember the name of it. And it's going to come to me at the end of this video. I'm going to make another video after this one being like, okay, so by the way, we've got more cymbals in this album's called. Yeah, so he made that album, and like everyone at university owned that album. Everyone was listening to it, and everyone was obsessed with Bill Stewart. Everyone was doing those dotted eighth notes on the hi-hat while playing the offbeat with the click on the snare, and like doing all those things. Like everyone was just trying to chuck Bill Stewart licks in everywhere. And I spent a lot of my time practicing. Like I would spend like 10 hours, 12 hours a day, maybe more, practicing for like 5 or so years, and just at that university. And then I graduated, went to another university, but it's a different story. So I was like, cool. I had this mentality of, if I buy a Bill Stewart cymbal, I'll sound like Bill Stewart. And so I bought the cymbal. I played it. I remember I liked it, but it didn't fit in with a lot of stuff. Like back then I was purely only really playing jazz. But for some reason I just felt like it didn't fit in with everything, like maybe like sambas and bossa novas and stuff. It was mainly a jazz thing, and even with like old school kind of jazz. And so I ended up getting rid of it. I think I bought it from cymbalsonly.com, which is a site I do not promote, and I will probably tell you why later on. But yeah, I don't ever buy from that guy again. I bought that cymbal, and then I sold it. Would have sold it like pretty much straight away on Trade Me or Reverb, or not Reverb, sorry, Cymbalholics. I would have sold it on there, and probably lost money on it or traded it or whatever. So that was the story of that. But anyway, it was this year. A guy I studied with at Auckland University, Ron Sampson, who most people probably know, he put the cymbal on Trade Me, unbeknownst to me. I didn't know it was him. And ended up kind of tossing and turning, because I was like, man, you just never ever see the Dry Complex Ride 2s, let alone Dry Complex Rides, appear anymore. 22s or 24s, and being a rare vintage cymbal collector, I was like, shucks, I gotta get my hat in the ring for that. So I ended up buying it. Haven't played it. Just sits in the vault. I might check it on the Droom kit later on tomorrow, and do a comparison. I really like the cymbal. I don't know why people don't like it. You know, like I was explaining to a friend of mine, I think it was like a flatmate or something, like, he said, what does it mean when it's called complex? And I was like, well, to me it's like kind of that hollow sound that you can kind of hear. Just there's that kind of, it's got that kind of, I don't call it like a harshness, but it's kind of like a hollow kind of sound. But yeah, love it. Bought it off Ron Sampson, and then I won the auction, and I was like, oh shucks, it's him, because he was my drum teacher, I think, at Auckland University. When I graduated from Canterbury, went to Auckland University, and he was my tutor there. And I was like, hey man, haven't seen you for like 10 years. Thanks for selling me the cymbal. And I think he sent me a recording of Ari Honig playing it, and I sent him some excerpts of Philly Joe Jones' solo book, and we haven't talked since, so great chat. But yeah, I can't remember how much I paid for it, doesn't matter. Probably like $500 New Zealand, which is a good deal. Considering you never see them. This is the 22-inch that I was talking about before, the Blue Label Pisces. I bought it from the same dude. This one was a bit of a more, I guess, teetering auction, because the first one I got $500. He listed it $500, I got it $500. No one else put in it. This one, like I said before, when it gets to that last minute of the auction and it counts down, someone will put in a bid, and it will automatically reset the bidding up, the timer up to 2 minutes. So it's an annoying thing that people do just to get in, sneak in at the last minute. So this one was also listed for $500 dues, and I was like, sick. I've pretty much run out of money now because I've just bought all these cymbals, but I have to own Blue Labels. I don't really intend on ever selling these, but who knows. Some guy started bidding, or probably girl, probably guy, started bidding in the last minute. And we ended up going up to just under $600, I think. And I was like, I won't say how much I was prepared to pay for it. But if that individual had put in like another couple more bids, they probably would have got it. Because I do have a cutoff point, excuse me, with cymbals that I buy. I'm like, I will definitely not spend this much money. Because whenever something comes up on Trade Me, I'll go onto Reverb and I'll go onto eBay and I'll see like, okay, what's the maximum amount of price people are paying for these and how popular are they? And how popular have they been? And is there scope for them to be popular in the future? So yeah, pretty happy because I, never saw myself as ever being lucky enough, the lucky man to own a couple of Blue Label Peisty 602s, but someone's looking down on me. Yeah, so bought from the same guy. Lovely cymbals. Happy with that. Oh, it's the last one. This is one of the other Sabians that I bought because I went through a period of just for some reason purchasing limited edition Sabians, and it all started with the Chick Corea Royal Ride that came out, and I got it not because it was a rare event. It was more because Chick Corea died around the time that it came out, and I was like, shucks, it's quite sad because there's a lot of Chick Corea songs that I really like, and so I was happy to buy that. This one, I think it was just like an offhanded purchase. Like it was during COVID. I had the money to spend like everyone, and I realized I didn't really own a flat ride. Well, I actually owned like 2 or 3 flat rides, but I really didn't own a flat ride that I was going to play. And I was like, well, it would be nice to purchase a flat ride. And this came up, and I was like, cool, I'll buy it. And that was that. I don't like this new Sabian logo. I probably, and people are going to hate me for this, and people get real upset. But since the new Sabian logo came out, every time I go to buy a Sabian cymbal that I really like, I look at the logo, I'm like, oh, no thanks. I just can't do it. I just don't like it. But really nice bell on this one too. Yeah, so I bought that, never ever played it. It was more as like a collector's piece. Like I went on there with the intention of buying a flat ride and playing a flat ride, but it just never happened. So yeah, that's all of them. That's it. Yeah, probably do some more at some stage. I just felt like doing that. Yeah. See you later.